Hi ladies, thank you for joining us. Today we're going to share with you some really easy ways to make it look like you spent more money on your clothes than you actually did. So Kelly and I, we've always held the belief that fashion should be accessible to every woman regardless of their budget. And we're going to share with you some really easy tips to have you looking stylish and on trend without having to break the bank. So if you love fashion content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. You can also follow us over on Instagram, but let's not waste another minute and jump right into the video.
So when you're shopping on a budget, we have a couple of great tips that we're gonna share that are really gonna make it easy to not be able to tell that your clothing item was not more expensive. And one of my favorite tricks is to go for natural fabric. So especially if I'm shopping on a website like Amazon, I'm really looking at that fabric content and I'm going for things like linen, like cotton, linen blend, or gauze. Those fabrics are just naturally going to look more expensive, more elevated, and it's going to make it really hard to tell whether or not you bought that piece from a budget-friendly retailer or from more of a luxury retailer. So that is one of my favorite tips, and we found everything from some beautiful dresses in natural cotton and linen. We've had some rompers and different pieces as well, but we'll make sure to link all the things that we're showing you throughout the video because we really did find some great ones, and I think they just look so much more expensive than they really are, and they're also perfect for these warm summer temperatures. It's going to keep you a lot cooler. It's going to feel a lot more refreshing to have those natural fabrics. So speaking of natural fabrics, I wanted to share with you this little romper that I'm wearing. This is kind of like a gauze type of fabric. I'm not exactly sure the content on this one, but it does have that gauze like texture to it. I love this romper because it has this little pulled in belted waist. It's got buttons going down. It's got the traditional collar. It's a really good length and it has pockets. Now, I have definitely seen gauze style rompers just like this one on websites like Nordstrom for a much higher price point, and this is an Amazon find and is very, very affordable. And then going into my jewelry today, which is also super affordable, I have on some little hoop earrings, little geometric shaped earrings, as well as a little chain link ring, both super budget friendly as well. And that's another great way to wear budget friendly things that look more expensive, because both of these pieces, no one really knows if this is real gold or not, but these are fashion jewelry pieces at a great price point.
I think Kelly shared with you a really great tip with using some of those natural fabrics, but sometimes it's just not possible and you're gonna have to, pick up an item maybe that's in a different material, maybe like a rayon or a polyester, but don't worry, there's a really easy trick that you can use to get around having to use that type of fabric, and that's going for a black or like a dark navy color. So the reason why this actually really works well with some of those like lower quality fabrics is because it kind of hides the fact that it is a lower quality. So let me give you an example. Sometimes when you are picking up those kinds of materials, you might find that it's a little bit see-through and you're able to see, maybe some of your undergarments. It might show some like little lumps and bumps, but when you're going for that darker, richer color, either in black or navy, it really masks that. It's also an easy way to hide any imperfections that might be on that piece. So sometimes you might have some faux buttons, but there aren't any faux button holes. And when you pick it up in a darker fabric, that imperfection is not going to be as apparent as if you were to pick it up in a lighter, maybe like pastel pink or baby blue. So this is an easy way for you to really pull off those budget-friendly clothes as if you spent more money on them.
So this next tip is one that you may have never heard of or thought of before, but it's definitely something that I have started to notice. So when I'm shopping online, sometimes I want to find something in a beautiful print, maybe like a floral print, and usually on Amazon you have so many choices to choose from that it's like, which one do I go with? I'm going to tell you, if you are choosing between floral prints and you have a choice between a floral print that has a lot of different different colors, very vibrant, bright colors all over it mixed together, versus something that maybe only has one or two colors or maybe some softer tones. Going with the less amount of colors and the softer tones is really going to look a little bit more expensive. So this particularly is something I've seen a lot lately with like blue and white florals. So blue and white is a very hot combination right now. Blues are huge for spring and summer, and that kind of like Greek island kind of vibe that you get from these. They're very like beachy and calming and beautiful. When you see those blue and white colors, it definitely gives more of a designer inspired look, and it just naturally looks like a more expensive piece. So I found some really beautiful ones while I was shopping on Amazon, and even though I saw these exact same dresses in some other florals, when I looked at them, they definitely didn't look as elevated. They definitely looked a little bit cheaper when they had, 4 and 5 different vibrant, bright colors going all throughout these big floral patterns. But when I purchased them in these soft patterns of blue and white, they just looked elevated. They looked more designer and more expensive. So I picked up a mini version. I also picked up a maxi version, and I thought these were just perfect and definitely gave more of an expensive look to the fabric.
Before I share with you the next tip, I wanted to share my jewelry and what I'm wearing today. So I've just pulled out a couple of pieces that I really love. I think they're so easy to style. So I started with this medium size hoop earring along with this 2-tone cable wire bangle bracelet and this statement wrap ring. Really just love this ring. I think it's such a good piece to have. And today I'm actually wearing a blue and white striped midi dress. This one has a little belt around the waist. It's actually a short sleeve one. I actually really love stripes, and stripes are actually another great way to make your clothes look as if you've spent a little bit more money than you have. So there's not a lot of prints that are out there that can give you that like classic all-American kind of feel, but stripes for sure are an easy one. So when you're wearing an item, whether it be a shirt, a pant, a dress that has this blue and white stripe, because it gives that throwback, right? That classic feel. It automatically gives a very elevated look to the piece that you're wearing. And that's why it's such an easy print to wear. If you're finding some of these budget-friendly pieces, but you want to make it look as if the item that you're wearing is a little bit more of a higher quality than what you've actually spent on it. So I really love stripes, especially those vertical ones. They're really going to help elongate the body, but definitely a print you should keep your eye out on if you want to look as if you've spent a little bit more in your wardrobe than you really have.
Okay, so this next tip is also about the color that you choose an item in. So if you are looking to make something look a little bit more expensive or elevated than it is, neutrals is also a great way to go. So Christina talked about the black and the navy and all the reasons that really works, but also think about choosing things in white or in like a nice beige color. So this is a little bit different because you still do want to consider those fabrics. I would say that white polyester, things like that, is still going to be tricky. However, if you are choosing those natural fabrics and you're kind of torn on what color to go with, but you really want this piece to look more expensive and more elevated, neutrals are always really going to give you that like classy, elevated look. So think about choosing them in white or like a beige or a tan color as well. Those are going to be really beautiful. Even if you're choosing something like a linen, going with a white or a beige linen is really going to give you even more of an elevated and expensive look. So it's always a great way to go.
This next tip is one that you probably have never thought of, but let me tell you ladies, it's so easy. It takes less than 2 seconds to do. And that is making sure that you either cut off or you hide the belt loops that are on some of these dresses. So as you can see, there are some really like thin, kind of chintzy little belt loops that a lot of these like clothes that are from like budget-friendly places will tend to have. And that is a telltale sign about the quality of fabric and how much you actually spent on that piece. Because a lot of these like higher end pieces don't have those kind of loops. So for Kelli and I, depending on the type of belt loop it is, if it's an easy one, we'll snip it right off. But if it's a more substantial one, we'll tend to just kind of hide it underneath the belt that we're using. And I promise you, it really is going to be an easy way to make it look like a more expensive piece than it really is.
So this next tip kind of goes along with the belt loops, and that is just kind of getting rid of some of those little dead giveaways that you're wearing a really budget-friendly piece. And this is one I really have noticed on a lot of things that I have ordered that are, you know, really affordable. And that is those little metal hooks that they sometimes put like right on the shirt to help you keep it closed. So it's not so bad if it's, you know, invisible, which more elevated types of clothing, more expensive clothing, it will always be invisible. The point is not to see those metal closures. However, sometimes when an outfit is very, you know, inexpensive, you will be able to see it. You'll have this little silver hook just kind of hanging there, and especially if you don't close the shirt or the dress, you'll be able to see it, and it's just not attractive. And more often than not, I feel like they put them in the wrong spot. You know, it's never where I want it to be, but it's a very easy fix. So just get yourself one of those little, I don't even know what you call it, but the little thread removers that you use to, you know, unthread something, and just carefully remove that and cut that extra thread. And then if you need to have a closure, you can either put one, you know, somewhere if you are handy with sewing, or you can do a little fashion tape where you want to keep it secured. You can do a little hidden safety pin. That's one of my favorite tricks to use. But not being able to see that metal closure is really going to make your outfit just look more put together overall, and therefore make it look like it's more expensive than it actually is.
Sometimes you might notice that with some of those budget-friendly, cheaper items that you tend to find that there is some thread that's fallen loose on the buttons, or maybe down at the hem of the dress or on the skirt. Making sure that you cut off those pieces are really an easy way to make it look as if it's a higher quality level of clothing that you have picked up. Another thing you also want to take a look at is the tags. So sometimes you might find that because of the fabric, you can actually see the outline of the tag through the item, or you might actually see it because it is see-through. Just making sure that you actually remove the tag from the inside. Paying attention to those details really make that piece look as if you spent more money than you did.
Okay, so this next tip is definitely a favorite of mine, and one I would say I utilize the most, and that is to take inexpensive clothing and pair it with high quality accessories. So we're talking about things like your shoes, maybe your belt, maybe your handbag, my personal favorite. When you add those higher quality accessories, they don't have to be designer, they just have to be good quality. They're really going to help to make your whole outfit look better, look like you spent more on your clothing, like you're wearing something that is really good value. So think about things like, you know, leather. Choosing a great high quality leather handbag you can wear with a lot of different outfits is really going to be a great way to just elevate those inexpensive clothing pieces. Also with your shoes, choosing a shoe that is well made, that is made from, you know, leathers or natural or vegan leather, good quality materials, a good sturdy shoe is also going to elevate your clothing. And if you have anything that happens to be some designer pieces, maybe you have in your wardrobe, those are great to add to these really cheaper clothing pieces, because if you have, you know, that designer bag or a great pair of shoes or maybe a little designer belt, people are automatically going to just assume that those clothing pieces are more expensive than they actually are. So this is a great trick. This is used by probably every fashion influencer I have seen, something that everybody does, because we love our budget-friendly clothes and we love Amazon, but there are so many great ways to really just elevate those looks, and this is definitely a good one.
All right, ladies, so a big fashion faux pas, whether you are wearing something budget friendly or not, is to make sure that you are steaming and ironing your clothing pieces. So if you have got on a top or a dress or a romper, whatever it may be, but it is wrinkled and you haven't taken the time, it's gonna make the outfit look cheap. So definitely help your fabrics when you make sure that you iron them, steam them. It really is going to give just an overall put together look.
Another really important tip that we definitely recommend, whether you're wearing, more expensive clothes or less expensive clothes, but definitely really important probably when you're wearing these less expensive clothes, is to choose the right undergarments. And the reason it's so crucial, especially when you're wearing more budget-friendly clothes, is that a lot of times those fabrics might be a little bit thinner, they might be a little bit more prone to showing lumps or bumps underneath them, and so you want everything to be streamlined, and you don't want to see any visible panty lines, you don't want to have any bra straps hanging out or see any lines from the garments underneath, and you also want to make sure that if you're wearing something that is maybe like a white linen and it's very thinner fabric, maybe see-through, adding something like a slip is a great way to also avoid any embarrassment. So I'll actually make sure to link the one that I'm wearing with that white linen dress because it did require a little half slip underneath. But undergarments are so crucial. They're definitely something that I think a lot of people really miss the mark on this. And if you're going to wear something that, has some spaghetti straps, you have to go with maybe a great strapless bra. You want to make sure you have some seamless panties. So Christina and I have some great recommendations that we always go with. We'll make sure to link those below, our favorite bras, our favorite seamless panties, my slip that I'm wearing, but definitely your undergarments are essential.
Hopefully you found these tips helpful and easy to incorporate in your life. If you are looking for some more really good fashion content, make sure to check out our most flattering dresses for women over 40. It's a good one if you haven't checked it out already. We hope you ladies have a great week and we will see you next time.